Well, good morning, everybody. We're going to attempt to make some chicken soup. Some old-fashioned chicken soup this morning. And I'm going to start off with leg quarters that I thawed out yesterday. So you can see them. And most people just use a whole chicken, but it's just me. So what I do is I buy chicken by the big bag full. You get leg quarters, and you get them cheaper that way. And really, to make a soup or a chicken stock, the leg quarters is the best. You get the leg and the thigh together. Just put it in your pot. And when I buy that big bag, I freeze them. I break it down to just 2 of the quarters, and I put it in a pot. I gotta wash this chicken off my fingers because I don't want to spread it around the kitchen. I don't like getting chicken all everywhere. But what I'm going to do is just cover the chicken in water. And we're going to be using my pressure cooker again to kind of speed up the cooking process. And I'm just going to cover the chicken in water. Or really, you don't even have to put that much because this is a pressure cooker. You don't even have to cover it. And I'm just going to turn it on, get it hot. It's kind of cool this morning. I think it's supposed to be about 72 today. Not quite as warm as it was yesterday, but it's going to be warm. But this is the way I fix my old-fashioned chicken soup. You can make it creamy or just leave the liquid, liquidy. Sometimes I like it creamy, and I might do mine creamy today. I'm not sure. But to speed up the cooking time, chicken cooks quick anyway. But if you put it in a pressure cooker and cook it for, about 20, 30 minutes, it'll be done. Take it out and let it cool off, and then start doing your other stuff. But you know what? It's almost Easter. Get that hot. Takes it a minute to get hot. And I know a lot of times people that do cooking videos, they'll go ahead and pre-cook their chicken and let it cool and all that. But then they stop the videos, they restart the videos, and you really don't know the time that they're cooking it. And I'd rather just go ahead and show you exactly what I do, show you the length of time that it's cooking, and just take you through the whole process. It's more believable that way, I think. Once we get that going, we'll go ahead and chop up some celery and stuff. Doesn't take it long to get hot. Yeah, I found that the old-timey recipes are usually the best. I don't put a lot of frills and fancy ingredients and expensive ingredients, really. in a lot of my dishes because I see there's no need in doing that. You can make some really good dishes with simple ingredients. And most of the time they're the best. But I'll take you over here and show you I did not put much water in there. You don't have to put a lot of water. See, the chicken is not even covered. It's about halfway up the chicken. Because when you're cooking with a pressure cooker, you don't need a lot of, you don't really need a lot of water. So let's get this going. And again, if you've never used a pressure cooker, when you got the lid on there and it starts to jiggle, that means you need to turn your heat down. If you leave it on there and it starts jiggling constantly, you're going to blow a gasket. Because that vibration sound, that jiggle, is letting you know, hey, I'm hot. You need to cool me down a little bit. And that chicken was cold because it was in the refrigerator where I had thawed it out last night. But you can get a whole bag of chicken for like $6 or $7. Get like 10 pounds of chicken quarters, the thigh and the leg. So that's a lot of chicken in one bag. So like I said, I buy a big old bag of it. I take out 2 pieces, 2 quarters, put them in a baggie and freeze them, and then take them out as I need it, because that's 4 pieces of chicken right there. And that is the best part of the chicken, really, to make a soup or a stock or anything with. It has a lot more flavor than the chicken breast. I like chicken breast cooked in other dishes. You know, a different type of dish. Yep, it's almost Easter. Y'all got big plans for Easter? I really haven't made any plans. If I do anything, I'll be going over to my son's house. Maybe for Easter lunch or something. And we get back to watching a pot. Seems like when you want to boil water in a pot, when you watch it, it seems like it never happens. Has our pot started boiling yet? Yep, it's just started to boiling. We're supposed to get more rain tomorrow, which my plants will love it. My Jolly Green tree collards are really doing some growing. I had to take them out of the little hoop net and move the buckets, and put a big net over the top of them to give them room to grow. And I'll show you those a little later. Get this boiling good so I can put the lid on it. Yeah, everything in my garden's starting to really grow except those seed that I planted in the cinder blocks. They should have come up already. But I know the peppers and the okra take a lot longer to germinate than the other seeds. And I'm just wetting that gasket a little bit. Yeah, it's got a little lock that drops down on the handle, so I have to make sure that that is down. But I do a lot of my cooking with a pressure cooker. It speeds up the cooking time, and if you're cooking a meat, it tenderizes the meat so much better. I mean, it's just unreal how much more tender the meat comes out when you cook it in a pressure cooker. And I didn't mean to show you that light under the stove. It's kind of blaring. And I'm going to let that cook for about 20-30 minutes. And I'll start cutting up my celery and my onion and stuff that I'm going to be putting in there. $12 o'clock noon, so that means about 12:20, 12:25 I should be able to take the lid off. And I'm waiting to get it hot to where it's under pressure. But I want to watch it because I don't want the little thing up here to start jiggling too much. When it does, I'm going to turn the heat down. was just checking that little lock under there. Then turn it down a tiny bit. And we're going to come over here and start cutting up our veggies that's going to go in it. I'm going to use all that onion that I had from before. Well, don't want that knife. Let's see where the other one is. Well, what did I do with my other knife? I don't want this one. There's another one. Something when you can't find your utensils, huh? Remember, this is all the onion that I had sliced the other day when I made those hamburgers, well, that hamburger. But I put about one kind of small onion in this much chicken. And you can cut it up as small as you want. You can leave it in big hunks if you want. It's your soup, so you can do whatever you want with it. I like my onions kind of small in the soup, but if I leave some of them a little big, that's okay too. You can put fresh green onion in it if you'd like. And I may go out there and get some and put it in there. I'm not sure. I'm getting onion everywhere. My table's clean, y'all. Well, my counter's clean, that's why I don't mind. And I love celery. And I'm just breaking the leaf part off of it. I mean, you can even put some of that in there if you want. In fact, I'm going to put some of this in there. Wash it off. Now, you don't have to just put the celery stalk in there. You can put the leaves in there too. Because that little bit of green on the celery stalk gives it a good flavor too. And I cut it kind of in small slices. Because I don't want great big chunks in my chicken or in my soup. I need to get a bowl to put that in. That's probably going to do it on my celery and my onion. I may put one more small one in there. Or two. I'm just winging it, y'all. Just goes to show you, you don't have to be precise on your amount of ingredients. You put in there how much you want. That's probably about a good cup full of celery. And about a cup, 3/4 of a cup onion. Yeah, some of my viewers mentioned my Corelle dish set. I've had these for as long as I can remember. It was probably the first real set of dishes I ever got. I had that melamine stuff for a long time. And then finally I got the complete set of Corelle dishes. And I just love them. I can't bring myself to ever get rid of them. I mean, I've still got the whole set. And if you've got something you like, why get rid of it to buy something else? I mean, that don't make sense to me. So, I'm still using my Corelle dishes. And I make a mess. I get water everywhere. Now, if you got dishes you like, why get rid of them and get something you don't really want? So I've got my onion, my celery, and I've got a bunch of ingredients. I've got my salt, I've got chicken bouillon. And you can either use the powdered like this, or you can get the liquid bouillon if you want. Thyme, rosemary, bay leaves, and smoked paprika. You can just use regular paprika. And you don't even have to use all of these ingredients. I mean, it's up to you. You know, what you put in there. And I just felt like putting these ingredients in there today. And of course your black pepper. Just plain old black pepper. Let's see, what else? Oh, my garlic. Gotta have garlic. And if you've got fresh garlic, you can go ahead and mince up some fresh garlic to put in your chicken soup. But we got a few more minutes. So I think I'm going to take you outside and show you what I've been doing in the yard since I did my last video in the yard. Get this camera just a minute, and that chicken can be cooking while we're out here. And I'm kind of concerned about these buckets here. They don't get as much sun as the other ones, so it might take the seeds a little bit longer to germinate. I do have my zucchini coming up right there. You can see right there I've got 2 seeds that sprouted. So but I've got a pot with yellow squash right there. I'm trying to space out my pots this year so they're not all jammed up. And then I put one of them over here. I made room in all the buckets of my cabbage and stuff. And there's little Buddy. He's not limping. He's not limping this morning. No, he looks like he's walking pretty good. He's walking pretty good. Yes, he is. Yeah. He's already been fed. But see, my seeds are coming up here. I've got a yellow squash I put there. That's where I had a rose bush last year. I've just put a yellow squash plant there that I got out of the greenhouse. I decided I'd try yellow squash in each one, because those plants get pretty big. They need just one pot to themselves, really, if it's that size pot. But this is what I did with my tree collards. I used tomato stakes to make a square frame, and I've got them in the pot sitting on a rock so I can mow around it or whatever. But they got plenty of room, because there's the top of the plant, the tree collard right there. So they've got a ways they can grow before they'll grow out of that net. So I kind of like that. And I just did that to make sure I don't end up with worms or bugs on my tree collards before they have time to get up a good size. But they're looking good. And remember, the smaller one is the piece we broke off of the big one and started another one, because that second tree collard died. So I broke a piece off of the other one, and we rooted it to start another tree collard, and it worked. It's rooted and it's growing fine. So, and I moved one of my pots over there, and I got to get out here and start trimming back some of these bushes, these trees, before they take over. I don't want them all. See how they're growing up toward the rocks where I keep my pots? I don't want them up there. So, and I may put a squash in this dish pan. I don't know. I don't think I got anything planted in it yet. I had beets, I think, in it one time. But I think I'll put me a squash in there. And there's my peas. And see, my peas are coming up in here. Got a couple of them come up. And I'm not sure if that's peas or what it is that came up in that pot down there voluntarily. But I'm going to put a tomato plant in there. My zinnias, look at there. They're starting, they're growing. Won't be too long before I'll be able to transplant them. And my little tomato plants that are starting to really grow now. They're putting on their permanent leaves. And some of them are really starting to grow. I'm trying to keep them not so much in the water. And that's one down there that's looking good. One over there that I transplanted. But I've got yellow squash and all kind of stuff coming up in that tote. I've got okra, all kind of stuff coming up here. And then I got tomato plants here. I replanted some of the seeds. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And my potato plant right there. My kohlrabi right there. I've got to pretty soon transplant that. And my onions, the red onions just keep growing and growing, and those little yellow onions are just struggling. It may be just the onions that I had bought. Yeah, there's little buddy. Yeah, there's my little buddy. He says, I'm going to stay in the shade over here this morning. He's something else. Yeah, it won't be long before I have all these pots full. I've got to start working on these on this side of the yard. Because I really don't have a lot of stuff planted over here yet. You know, I've got cilantro put in some of the small pots. I've got my seeds have popped up in those little pots. Our beets are doing good over here. They're starting to grow since they gotten used to being in the tote. And look at my raspberry bush. That's looking pretty. It's really coming to life. And then, of course, my beets in that tote. And I got red bell pepper seed. Red bell pepper seed, and I think I stuck that Roma tomato, that slice of Roma tomato in there. And look at the little sprouts that have come up from it. So if they survive, I'm going to have a ton of little Roma tomato plants that have come up in that pot. And again, look at my clematis. Aren't they pretty? They're beautiful, I think. Big, pretty flowers. Yeah, little buddy's up on the porch. I know he's not hungry, but he would eat if I'd give it to him. See, he's not limping. He's not holding that paw up like he did. I mean, it still may hurt him a little bit, but he's sure putting his weight on it, and he's walking, so I think he's all right. Yeah, I think little buddy will be okay. He's a sweetheart. He just needed a little bit of time and a little bit of rest off of his foot. He's a sweetheart, and I still haven't gotten it. I was going to get out here yesterday and get all these leaves off the porch and the side, you know, the patio and everywhere, but the wind was blowing so hard. I mean, look at all the leaves in that pot, just where the wind blew them in there. Yeah, it was blowing like crazy yesterday. That wind was blowing like crazy yesterday. It was. I'll go show you at the arbor over here because the clematis is starting to bloom over here too. Isn't that pretty? It hasn't climbed up like I want it to, but I already have some up at the top. And then it like skips open and then it's got some down here, so hopefully later on in the summer it'll grow up more. But look at that. Isn't that pretty? They're big, pretty flowers, and I need to water this because I put a ton of seeds in there, but you know you got to keep your seeds kind of damp to be able to get the seeds to sprout. But it is supposed to rain tomorrow, so hopefully that's going to help. And this thing, it wants to go everywhere but where I want it to go. There. Maybe if it'll stay there wrapped around that pole, it'll start climbing up. Yeah, see, our little buddy's walking okay. He's not limping now. See? He's not limping now. No, he's not limping now. He's going to be okay. He's going to be okay. He hurt it and it was hurting him, but I think he's going to be okay. Yeah, he is. He's going to be okay. Yeah, he's going to be okay. He says, well, you didn't have to stop petting me. See, he's not limping. He's putting that foot down. He's okay. So nobody has to worry about him. He's going to be okay. He's a sweetheart. Yes, he is. He's a sweetheart. Aren't you a sweetheart? Yes, you are. You is a sweetheart. Yes, you are. Yeah. I'm going to have to get you another bag of those cadoodles, those cat food, next time I go to the store. I went the other day and they were completely out of them. They didn't have any. They had dog food. They didn't have any cat food left. So next time I go, I'm going to have to get him some. Yeah. I'm going to have to get him another bag of cadoodles. He likes them. It's got fish and liver and beef, chicken, all kind of good stuff in it. See, he's been walking fine. He's not limping. He says, I'll be okay. Yeah, I'll be okay. He'll be okay. It might bother him a little bit, but, you know, since he's walking on it, he'll be all right. He's going to cool that belly. He's going to cool that belly. He's a sweetheart. He really is. Maybe I can get out here today and get the sidewalk swept off. And I got to get the mower out and cut some of the weeds on this side of the yard. They're getting pretty high. And probably after it rains tomorrow, it will be high. But it's not a big deal. Say it's not a big deal. It's not that bad. Yeah, we get so much rain off and on. I hate to be out here watering anything because I don't want things to get too wet. And I probably need to put that one pot back out there where it was. People have been asking about you, little buddy. Yes, they have. They've been asking about you. You know, all the viewers have been asking about you. Yes, they have. They've been asking about you. Yeah, they've been asking about you. Yes, they have. They've been asking about you. That wind like tore up my clematis yesterday. He says, well, I guess I'm not getting any more food. I don't want to feed him too much. I'm trying to get it so I feed him once in the morning and once in the evening, because I don't want to overfeed him. Yeah, he was eating so much of the treats that I decided, well, I just need to buy him a bag of food, some dried cat food, and let him eat that. Yeah. So we just got him some cat food. And he loves it. I mean, he almost knocks my hand out of the way trying to get to the food. And you know, it's hard to put it even on the carpet over there for him to eat because he's banging his head into my hand. It's like, get out of the way, just give me the food. He's a sweetheart. Yes, he is. Yeah, he's a sweetheart. He's a pretty kitty. Yeah, see, once in a while he'll hold his little paw up. But he's walking on it okay, so I think by tomorrow he'll even be better than he is today. So I don't think we have to worry about him. Yeah. It might be still a little tender on him, but I think he'll be okay. Won't you, little buddy? He'll be okay. He needs to go take him a nap. He looks like he's sleepy. You gonna take you a nap? Lay down in the sun? Yeah, he's just gonna lay down and cool his belly. Take him a nap. Well, I'm going to let him take his nap, and we're going to go in the house and check on our chicken cooking. Maybe give him a couple of more treats. Let me get another little handful of treats for him. Well, y'all, my camera cut off, so I had to restart it. I'm getting my chicken out of the pot because it's got to cool off so I can get the bones out of it. Right there and let it cool a little bit. And we're going to get our pot to going again. I'm going to add my onions. My celery. I'm going to add my bouillon. I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of bouillon in there. That's chicken bouillon. I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons of garlic. And like I said, if you don't like garlic, don't add garlic. Seasoning is optional. You put the seasoning in that you like. These are just some of the things that I put in mine. And then I have the smoked paprika. And like I said, you can put plain in if you want. And I'm going to put about a teaspoon of that in. I'm going to put some rosemary. This is one of my new ones. I hadn't even opened it yet. Any of these seasonings is just totally optional. No, that doesn't want to pull off. So just cut it. And I'm going to put about a teaspoonful of rosemary. And I'm going to put 2 bay leaves. If I can get them out. See, just a bay leaf. Because you take them out, you don't eat them. But they do season your soup. And like I said, all of that is totally optional. Now, I'm not going to put too much salt because I already had salt in the, if you've ever used chicken bouillon, you know that it's salty. But I'm going to put about a teaspoon of thyme leaves, dried thyme, or thyme. I don't know why I say thyme. I try to pronounce it the way it looks, the way it's spelled. I'm going to put just a couple of shakes of black pepper. And like I said, I'm not going to put much salt, just a smidgen, until I start tasting it from where I put the chicken bouillon in there. And I'm going to add some water. I'm going to add just a little bit of water. Not much, because I don't want it to be watered down. Put about a pint of water. And like I said, I'm going to let that cook while I come over here and try to debone this chicken. And as I debone it, I just throw it in the pot. And it's still a little hot. But I just throw the pieces right in there. Woo! Hot, hot, hot. But see, about 30 minutes in that pressure cooker, cook that chicken done enough that you can start getting it off the bone. And like I said, I just put hunks in there. Whatever way I pull it off the bone is the way it goes in the pot. Ooh, it is still a little hot. Get the camera back here a ways. There. For those of you that want to see me as well as the food, I've had people ask me to do that, so it's not because I want to be seen. It's just the fact that people have said, well, we want to see who's cooking it too. We don't want to just see the food. So yeah, and it would be ideal if this was a little bit cooler, but you got to get your fingers in it. Whoa, that's hot. And like the last 10 minutes of cooking, if you want to add noodles or rice. Maybe you have some leftover rice in your refrigerator. You can add that rice like the last 10 minutes of cooking time. Or some people add potatoes. I don't know if I'm going to add anything. I've got some rice. I may add rice. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I don't know if I want to add rice or noodles or anything to it. And what you can do if you thicken up your if you thicken up your liquid and make you a creamy soup, you can actually cook spaghetti noodles and serve your creamy chicken soup right on top of your spaghetti noodles, just like a sauce. You know, if you thicken it up. But I like to do this while the veggies are cooking. That way, that kind of speeds up the cooking time too. Because your veggies can be cooking while you're deboning your chicken. I don't know why I'm coughing so. I'm in the house. Goodness. Make sure I don't get no little bones in there. Which, that's something that, you know, you don't usually do if you have a chicken leg. Because there's not that many bones. You got the big chicken leg and then you got one little side bone, usually. But that's about it. Some people even like the skin. I don't like to eat the chicken skin. I'll probably give that to the cat. Maybe he'll eat it. That chicken soup is smelling good. Still a little bit hot. Whoa, that's hot. I thought that piece would cool down, but it's not. It's a little bit too hot to handle. Yeah, I'm using a knife because it's so hot. And I hope maybe my camera doesn't go off again. I don't know why it did that. It has a habit of cutting off on me. Whoa. Hot, hot, hot. We'll give all that skin and stuff to the cat. I think he'll like it. Whoa, that is so hot. You got to admit, this is a lot more chicken than you're going to get if you buy a can of chicken soup. Because when they make chicken soup in the can, that's basically all the little scraps of chicken that they get, and not much of it. Cut that big hunk up. Woo! That's hot. some of that off my hands. Made a mess. Go in here and get a little bowl and put some of these chicken scraps in it for little Buddy. I'm going to try not to give him a bunch of bones, but I know he'll like some of the scraps of that chicken. If he's still out there. He may have taken off because I didn't give him any more food. But the big bones he can chew on. It's got plenty of meat on there yet. And the fat. Y'all, that soup is smelling good. Just go take this out there and see if little Buddy wants some of it, if he's still there. If not, I'll probably have to keep it in the house until he comes back, because I don't want the ants to get in it. Come on, little Buddy. He's out here. You want you a bowl of chicken? He says that's pretty good stuff. Well, his leg was good enough that he was up in the swing. He was up there napping until he heard me open the door. That should fill his belly up. Yep, that should fill his belly up today. He likes that skin. I don't think he's that hungry, but he's sure eating it. He says, I'm full. You already fed me the other food. Now this. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it up for him and I'll keep it. Put it in the refrigerator for him. And he can eat more later. Because I know he's full right now. He wasn't really hungry. And he did eat quite a bit of it. So we'll go back in the house and finish with our soup. And put this up for little buddy. Because I don't want to leave it out there. The ants will get in it. So I'm just going to put it in the refrigerator for him. I gotta taste it. That is good, y'all. Won't it look good? It's not done yet. Let it cook a few more minutes. The onions and the celery has to get cooked. I'm going to go ahead and put these spices up while I'm waiting on that. And I think I've got some rice I can probably put in there. I had cooked some rice the other day, and I had a bowl of rice in there. So, you know, you have chicken and rice soup, so. And I wanted to try a piece of the celery to see how done it's getting. Just a little bit more salt. Not much. Like I said, you can make it creamy if you want. To make it creamy, all you have to do is add some cornstarch to some water and get it all wet, you know, get the lumps out of it before you put it in here. Or you can do a little bit of flour, a couple of tablespoons of flour, add it to water and get all the lumps out, and then put it in there, and it will cream it right up. In this case, instead of making mine real soupy, I think I'm going to add all this rice to it. Or most of it. But it's a great way to use some leftover rice. And it's in chunks, so I've got to break it up. Some people add potatoes. Just dice you up with some potatoes and put your potatoes in there. And you know, the longer you simmer this, the better it is. And I'm just getting all the lumps out of the rice that I put in there. But this makes plenty of soup for me. I mean, just out of 2 leg quarters. You know what? Probably I could break it up a little bit with my fingers, putting it in there. It'd be a lot easier. That's one thing I've learned with cooking. Don't be afraid to get your fingers in it. Because sometimes using your fingers is the best way. There, I'm not going to quite put all of that rice in there. I probably put about a cup of cooked rice. I think that'll be plenty. And I got a little bit of rice left over to put in something else. Now I'm just cooking that a little bit now to kind of get those flavors cooked into the rice a little bit. And other than that, this soup is done. So, I guess y'all know what I'm having for lunch today. Chicken soup. Homemade chicken soup. You can serve it up with crackers. You can fix you some bread to go with it. It's totally up to you. And still got some rice clusters in there. Just making sure all those clumps of rice are broken up. And it is a little creamy. Just putting that rice in there will cream it up a little bit. So I'm turning it off. I'm going to ladle up a little bit of it, and I am going to eat me a bowl of chicken soup for lunch today. But don't that bowl of soup look good? Look at that. Those chunks of chicken. Look at that. You don't get that much chicken in canned soup. You're only going to get that when you make your own homemade soup. And that is a meal right there. So, I'm going to sit down here. And I'm going to eat some soup. And like I said, you can eat crackers with it. Or fix you some hot biscuit or something with it. Straighten this camera up a little bit. Fix you some hot biscuit or crackers. Even cornbread would go good with it. Any of it. And let's say the blessing. Dear Lord, we thank you for our food we're about to eat at this present time. Look over us. Look over my garden. Bless every all of my viewers, hope they have a very blessed weekend. Watch over them, keep them safe. Amen. It's too hot to eat, y'all. But it's going to be so good. It smells, oh my God, it smells so good. And like I said, you don't have to put all these spices in it if you don't want. Pick out the spices that you like, that you think you will like in your soup. I put a little bit of everything in mine because all those flavors go together and it just makes it so good. Mmm. That is some good soup there, y'all. So good. Y'all need to fix some. And you can't get any cheaper than that. I mean, buy you a 10-pound bag of chicken quarters. It's just a bunch of chicken legs with thighs. And you get it so cheap, it's unreal. And all I did was put two chicken quarters in my pressure cooker, cook it, debone it, put in my spices and my little bit of rice. And like I said, the last 10 minutes of cooking, you can add noodles if you want, pasta, or the rice. Or you don't have to put any pasta or rice in there. Just eat chicken soup. It's totally up to you. You can add a little bit of cornstarch or flour to thicken it if you like a creamy soup, or just leave it watery and eat regular chicken soup. But I mean, $6 or $7 for 10 pounds of chicken, and it only takes 2 of those quarters to make a big pot of soup. You can feed your family with just 2 chicken quarters. That's 4 pieces of chicken, and you could feed 5 or 6 people chicken soup for dinner or lunch. So, I gotta take another bite. That's good. I'm not bragging on myself, but this is some good chicken soup. You gotta have some. And like I said, I'm not gonna make you stand or just stay there and watch me eat my soup. But there it is, y'all. Let me turn this camera around. There it is. Don't that look good? I mean, fix y'all some chicken soup. It's got just enough rice in there, just enough celery, just enough onions. And I mean, that's some good soup right there, y'all. Anybody would love that for lunch or dinner. And like I said, fix you some cornbread to go with it, or fix you some biscuit. Or just eat it with some crackers. That's what I've got. I'm just going to eat my crackers with it right here. So with that, I want to wish y'all a blessed weekend. Please like, share, and subscribe to my videos. And y'all have a great, fantastic day. I'm going to sit down here and enjoy my soup. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and little buddy today. And I will see you on my next video. Bye now.